Okay guys, this lesson is going to talk about rational and irrational numbers. And for this, we're going to be talking about using square root and cubed root, and we'll talk about that in a second. So a rational number is a number that ends in a zero. So if you were to take the square root of something, it ends in a zero, or has a repeating pattern. Okay. An irrational number will just have random number with no pattern at all. So when I say it ends in a zero, so something like 3.0, that's a rational number. 0.3333333 repeating, that's a rational number. It could be 0.125, 125, 125, because it has a pattern to it. An irrational number will look like 3.27159257, and nothing ever repeats. There's no pattern. It's just this long, nonsensical number that will never end. If you have a calculator that puts numbers into fractions, it also won't turn into a fraction. It's just this endless number, or a number that doesn't have any type of repeating pattern to it, doesn't end in a zero, just this very strange number to it. A rational number can always end in a zero or have that repeating pattern. So you're going to need to know the difference between rational and irrational. I always try to tell people rational is more, if you think about when you call someone rational, it means that like you can reason with them, they have good sense. Same with a number. It's a nice number that you can work with. It's not some crazy number. Irrational is more like somebody that you can't reason with. They're just always, crazy and yelling and all that type of stuff. Same with the number. An irrational number is just this crazy nonsensical number that you really can't do anything with, because you can't type a never-ending number into your calculator, or if it just goes on in this weird pattern, it's just not an easy number to work with. When we're looking at these rational and irrational numbers today, we're going to look at them in the form of square roots. So the first one that we're going to do is the square root of 21. When you type the square root of 21 into your calculator, you get 4.58257. Now, obviously, you can't have a never-ending number show up in your calculator because it's impossible. The calculator just can't. It would just keep going and going and going forever until it blew up or whatever. So they're just going to give you so many numbers. In this case, this is what we got, 4.58257. So the first thing we look at, does it end in a zero? Does not end in a zero, okay? The second thing that we look at, does it have any kind of repeating pattern? And we don't see any kind of pattern that repeats here. If it doesn't end in a zero and it doesn't have a repeating pattern, it's irrational. Okay, so the square root of 21 is an irrational number. Now let's go with the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 can also be written as 2.0. Any whole number, when you just get a certain number, 2, 3, 4, whatever, those are always going to be rational, because it doesn't go on and on forever. Now remember, what a square root means is what times what would give you that. So 2 times 2 would give you 4. This whole thing up here, never ending, times that again would give you 21. There's nothing perfect there that will give you 21. Now how about the square root of 16? The square root of 16 is 4. 4, can also be written as 4.0. Anytime it's just a whole number like that, again, it is going to be rational. You should have a calculator on your iPad that will do square roots for you. Okay, next one, square root of 17. That gives you 4.12310. That has not a repeating pattern, but it does end in this zero. Whenever it ends in a zero, it is also rational. Not just square roots we're going to look at today, we're also going to look at something called a cubed root. A cubed root looks like this. It has a little 3 out here. There can be more than just cubed roots. There can be to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th roots, whatever. This is just a cubed root. So what a cubed root mean is what 3 numbers can we multiply together of the same number to get 9. So what times what times what would equal 9? If you have a graphing calculator, you would go to the math function, and when you hit that, there would be an option for cubed root on there. If you don't have that, for the cubed root problems, we're just looking to see if it's rational or irrational. So feel free just to ask Siri or Google what the third root of the number is. You can ask any of the things online. You can go to a calculator online that will do that for you. If you don't have those, the ability to access the internet at this time, then on those homework problems, please just let me know that, and I won't count those against you, okay? But if you do have the third root, whether you punch it into your calculator or ask Alexa or Siri to help you on that, you will get 2.08008. Now this does not have a repeating pattern, and it does not end in 0, so this would be irrational. If you're having a hard time remembering those rules, go back to the first slide and take a screenshot of that so that you'll have those next two, or write them down. The next one, the third root of a negative number, this time of -8, would give you a -2.0, or a -2. That is a whole number. It ends in a 0, so it has both qualifications of a rational number. The third root of 100, again, so we're looking at what times what times what will equal 100, and the answer to that is 4.64158. It does not end in a 0. It does not have a repeating pattern, so that is irrational. So for today's homework, you are going to have to tell if the numbers are rational or the numbers are irrational, and then it's going to ask for the root. When it asks for the root, it just means what'd you get for your answer, okay? This would be the root. This would be the root, and the same on the last page. The number that you get is the root, and then rational or irrational. So you just have to answer those 2 questions for that homework today.